Right now, Aurora police are looking for whoever pulled the trigger inside a restaurant. The shooting put one person in the hospital in serious condition. This happened around 9:30 last night at the Panda Buffet on East Mississippi Avenue. Police say that a language barrier is making gathering information challenging. Right now, police have no suspect information to share, but if you know anything, call Aurora police. This morning, we are learning that one person is in custody after a shooting at Washington Park. This happened around 2:20 Sunday afternoon on the west side of the park near Kentucky and Downing. One person got hurt but is expected to survive. Police tell us that the suspect was arrested about a block away. No word just yet on what led up to the shooting. Denver police is still investigating.
This morning, 3 people are recovering after a shooting at a house party on Saturday night. It happened in North Glen near I-25 and 104th Avenue. North Glen police say they got a call about one person shot near Lauren Lane. While they were en route, 911 dispatchers got more calls saying multiple people were shot during an argument at that party. North Glen police say it involved people from 2 different houses on Lauren Lane. Investigators believe 3 people were hurt too seriously. No arrests have been made. However, police say there is no threat to the public. In about an hour, the retrial is set to begin for a former Clear Creek County deputy. Last April, a jury deadlocked on a second-degree murder charge against Andrew Buin for shooting and killing Christian Glass. The jury did convict Buin on a misdemeanor charge of reckless endangerment. Jury selection will begin at 8 o'clock this morning.
New this morning, a popular stretch of Larimer Street in the Rhino Art District is opening back up to traffic today. 9 News reporter Lauren Scafidi is tracking what we need to know this morning. Lauren, to be clear, we're not talking about Larimer Square downtown.
Jordan, that's exactly right. So this is in Rhino, and it's kind of weird. We've seen cars driving up and down Larimer Street today. This isn't something that we've seen in more than 4 years. But again, that is all changing today. In this same exact spot yesterday, supporters kind of came here and gathered, and they talked about how they didn't want to see this opening back up to cars. They don't want to see cars back here. The Rhino Business Improvement District has supported the closure since 2020. It was created to expand on outdoor areas to support local businesses during the pandemic. That went so well, the city formalized it and created the pilot street closure permitting process for keeping streets closed. That new process means that improvements would have to be made, like adding benches, planters, shade, that kind of thing. The Rhino Business Improvement District says that they chose not to pursue that permit to keep the block closed to cars permanently. Coming up in the next hour, I'll explain the impact that this has on businesses nearby. Live in Rhino, Lauren Scafidi, 9 News.
All right, it'll be different to adjust to that. Once again, Lauren, thank you.
This morning, 5 people are still in the hospital after a medevac jet carrying a pediatric patient and her mother crashed into a neighborhood in Philadelphia. The crash happened on Friday night. 7 people were killed, including all 6 on the medevac and 1 person in a car on the ground. We also know at least 22 people were hurt on the ground. And this morning, we're learning one of those seriously hurt was a 10-year-old boy. Andre Howard was in the car with his father and siblings. His father says he tried to use a nearby building to shield his children from the debris, but a piece of metal hit Andre's head. An innocent man on the street took the shirt off of his back to help apply pressure to Andre's head. Then a Philadelphia police officer rushed them to a nearby hospital where the boy had emergency surgery.
He must told us my son wasn't supposed to make it. Jefferson also told us that they didn't do children trauma surgeries, but they did for us, which was nothing but God.
Doctors initially told Howard his son would never walk again, but after being transported to Children's Hospital, Andre has made miracle strides overnight. Doctors are now working to keep Andre stable and comfortable as they work to figure out the next steps in his care.
Meanwhile, memorials are growing following the mid-air collision between an American Airlines plane and an Army Black Hawk helicopter. This is the Ashburn Ice House in Washington, D.C. A memorial has been set up to honor the victims, including the ones that were part of the figure skating community. And on Sunday, family members who lost loved ones gathered along the Potomac River for a memorial service. A large memorial wreath could be seen near the riverbank. As for the investigation itself, we are learning an internal preliminary report from the FAA shows staffing was, quote, not normal for the time of day and volume of traffic. This is according to the New York Times. An air traffic control source tells CNN that one controller was doing 2 jobs handling both helicopter and local plane traffic. That is an uncommon setup. We're also learning new data suggests the helicopter was flying at 300 feet or higher when it crashed into the plane. FAA restrictions say that it should have been below 200 feet. The NTSB is expected to have its preliminary report ready within 30 days.
New this morning, 2 weeks after President Trump pardoned those convicted of the January 6th riots, the Justice Department is digging into the FBI employees involved in these cases. This morning, we have learned those employees will have to complete in-depth questionnaires. The Justice Department wants to know their involvement in the January 6th investigations. That includes whether they participated in search warrants, conducted interviews, and testified at trial. This comes as the President's Justice Department weighs disciplinary actions for those involved in the cases that could lead to firings.
This morning, the deadly Eaton and Palisades fires in Los Angeles County are now 100% contained. Both fires erupted on January 7th. It burned more than 37,000 acres, more than 58 square miles, killing nearly 30 people. More than 16,000 structures were destroyed because of these fires. Later today, 3 semi-trailers will head to California from Colorado, carrying much-needed supplies for the victims of the Los Angeles wildfires. Mud Rock's Tap and Tavern in Louisville helped gather the supplies, including water, clean clothes, and non-perishable food. The bar was helped by volunteers in the community like Janet Orkey. She lived in Southern California for more than 40 years. After the fire started, she says she wanted to do her part.
Oh, I'm just delighted to help. I'm thrilled to work with Tony and Nancy and all these people that keep coming all day long. I go home exhausted, but I've got a big smile on my face. It's been absolutely wonderful.
Janet says that Coloradans also helped pay for 10 veteran coffin flags for victims who lost their veteran flag to the fires.